Hey, human. Coach Nate here today with the inaugural Conversations on Crisis, where a collective group of ordinary, regular people get together to talk about extraordinary events that helped define and make them the incredible people that they are. Nothing more than that. Conversation is on crisis. What is a crisis? A time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. It's also a time of difficult or important decisions must be made. And that's a somewhat of a generic definition, but it is the true dictionary definition. And many of you will say, yeah, I've been there. I can relate to that. Then you're our people. You're the individuals who this is for, to discuss crisis and have conversations with people who have been through it and their incredible experiences and how they came through that, and talk in just regular terms, normal terms that you can relate to, aimed at helping you endure through those crises, those challenges, to live up to your fullest potential, as you've heard me say many times. Our special guest today, I am elated and honored to have on the program with my co-host, Ian. I've got Wanda Booth, and she is the founder of Insight Masterminds, LLC. She is a mastermind maven after serving our country for over 25 years, realized that there was a need of helping women entrepreneurs achieve their financial security. And so she decided to help them make an impact in their business and leadership and financial security. So she has gone through a number of crises herself, and has joined, again, myself and my brother from another mother, Ian, a incredible genius in and of himself. I cannot be around him without having my iron sharpened. Iron sharpens iron. So here we are, and for the first show, glad that you could join us, human. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Wanda to give us the Wanda story. Give us the Wanda Booth. Where'd you come from, and where you at, and go from there.
Okay. Well, first of all, I got to say thank you, Nate and Ian. First, I'm blessed. I'm grateful to be here. Yes, I am human. And I love when you say human, because I call my kids little humans. I'm always like, come here, humans, because it's just let you know that you are this vessel, and everything else can be added to this vessel. And as we're talking about vessels, and I started out as a baby. I was born in New York, mom of a teenage mother, so raised by a grandma. So you know how that can leave some kind of lifestyle that you live, and not in the best of situations. So at 17, I decided to join the National Guard because I wanted to go to college. I wanted education. And in our family, it was all about faith, family, and education. Faith, I got it. Family, they're always there. But education, they weren't going to pay for it. So I found a way, because I believe in finding a way. That's just how I was raised. You figure it out. So I figured it out through the service. And then when I got pregnant in college, I went ahead and went active duty totally, and had my son, and that was it. And I served 25 years, yes, total of service. And through that, we're saying, as far as crisis, and I love this conversation because as a human, we have these experiences. I have so many experiences personally. I've been divorced. I've been through abuse, like many women, single mother, commanded in Iraq. But at the end of the day, I am grateful. And that's why I stand here today. I'm just grateful, and I'm giving back. That's what I'm doing now.
Wow.
Annie?
So it's fair to say you've seen your fair share of crisis.
Yes. Yes. I was talking to my mentor the other day, and this is one of the things. I made a little comment, like, I was ready for this. And she was like, what you mean? I was like, I wasn't ready for Corona or COVID-19, as people are talking about, but I was ready for something to happen. But I prepared because I do believe in certain principles. As we talk about finance, I'm a finance consultant. What I used to do, financial advising. Now my business handle more financial and business advising. But I prepare myself just in case by you having this 10% you tithe, 10% you save, 10% you invest, and then you live off the 70. I've been doing that for years. So when it came to this, I was okay because I prepared for crisis.
Interesting. Very interesting. I want to,
for this.
yeah. I want to get back and
Okay.
dive into that a little bit, but before I do,
That was kind of deep.
It's important for people to understand, who they're listening to and talking to here. Now, my life is an open book. Literally, I wrote one, Battle Endurance.
Okay.
But I want Ian to share, a little bit about Ian, and then we're gonna come back and talk a little bit more about Wanda. But I want the listeners and viewers to understand why Ian is my co-host and why I have such profound respect for him. Whatever you're comfortable sharing, Ian.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. And thank you, Wanda, for that awesome introduction, for sharing your story. And I'm looking forward to hearing so much more about you. And once again, I can really feel you as an inspirational person. And I'm sure that when people meet you, they do leave the place feeling empowered and feeling better about themselves or learning something. And so I feel really good to be a part of this conversation as well. And as Nate said, he and I have been friends for, we're going back a few years now, maybe double digits by about now. And we're both, fathers of daughters, and men in America, Black men in America that are able to go uptown and downtown, and knowing how to navigate the waters from the boardroom to the neighborhood. And I have adult daughters as well. My oldest daughter passed away 2 years ago. She was the first person in the country to have a successful stem cell transplant to rid her of sickle cell anemia. And so through that journey with my family, we were in Atlanta at the time, and we moved to South Florida, which is where I reside now, where I had the pleasure of meeting Nate. And we just jumped in both feet with the opportunity to have this healing, or this surgery, if you will, just to make it short. So that's what brought me here to South Florida, and we triumphed over the illness of sickle cell anemia, which, of course, we all know what that does to the Black community and Latin community as well. A lot of people don't know that Latin Americans and Greek Americans, or people of Greek descent, also can carry the sickle cell trait, and also be exposed to the illness or disease. That's a whole topic and subject all on its own. But we had quite the struggle with my older daughter. She passed away, like I said, July 2nd of 2018, and just inspired us all to love animals more, which is one thing that she was really into. But beyond that, just being more compassionate and recognizing that everybody that you see has a story and has a struggle, and you just never know what someone is going through or has gone through. And so with that, I'm, very empathetic towards people, and as we all should be to our brethren and our sistren. And at the same time, I'm not sympathetic. I'm move forward and tackle and, try to get up and go and keep, and not pitying yourself, and remaining grateful for the many blessings that I have, and pointing out the blessings for my friends and other people around me, so that they can just, weather whatever storm comes their way. So similar to your introduction, Miss Booth, I'm steady as she goes, and this quarantine thing is something that I can handle, not taking away the pain that it's causing to a lot of people and families. And it's going to be devastating when they roll back all the curtains and have a look to see what this exactly has done to our country and to the world. But, I'm grateful for my struggles, and I'm just happy to be here with amongst friends and, doing something positive and giving something back to people that might need to hear a calming voice during this time period.
Wow. Thank you both for your transparency, honesty, candor, and most importantly, wisdom. That, what you both just spoke to, is priceless. What you said to humans is that you can face the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the heart-stopping reason to not go on, yet come through it with a new normal and find something to be grateful for in it is the secret to get through it. It doesn't mean it was fun. It doesn't mean it was enjoyable. It doesn't say that it was easy. It does say that it's possible and that you can emerge as incredible people, not just wounded and as you both pointed out, pitying and in a steady state of suffering, but exceptionally achieving better for it. No one raises their hand and wants the opportunities, wants the difficulties that we have endured, especially you two. But the tremendous people, that the exceptional people, find the opportunity in that. So that I'm just honored to be in your company. We've all had our challenges, but each time I hear of what another individual has gone through, yet they can still smile, they can still be grateful, they can still be positive, and they can still look to try to inspire and help others is absolutely incredible. I know why I aspire to help others. My personal mission statement is to encourage others to endure through challenges while inspiring them to live up to their fullest potential. I understand and have been strengthened by Ian's, but Wanda, I want to know why, what compelled you to want to reach out to help the women in leadership and financial issues? What drove that?
Really, the biggest thing that drove that for me. Well, hold on. Before I can go on, I got to be really honest. I'm going to give my condolences and love to Ian and his family because I just lost my mom in August,
I'm sorry
a couple months ago. And so I just, first of all, want to say much love, much grace, much into that. And I don't want to come and go off. But when we're talking about crisis, when my mom passed away, once again, she lives in North Carolina. I live in Kansas. So I don't get to see my family every day. And I literally got the phone call, come home, mom is dying. I landed, I left soon, like the next morning I was on a plane in North Carolina. 12 hours later, she passed. And she was already in a medical coma where I didn't get a chance to stay. And I already talked to her 2 weeks prior to that. So for me, and then had to come back. And then as an advisor, I wanted to take some time for me, but you can't. I'm a single mom and I have a sweetheart, but still as a single mother, I'm still responsible for the household, the finances. And I couldn't take time to mourn or pause. And so I'm go. And into that going and into that healing piece, trying to also console my kids because I lost a mother, but they lost a grandmother who was very close to them. They lost a grandmother who they were fond of and who used to text them and be on Snapchat. Like my mom was on Snapchat. That's the Snapchat. I didn't even pronounce it right. The little thing the kids are on now. But my mom was on Instagram. She loved that stuff. And the kids related to her because she was the cool hip grandmother. And then as I come forward and get to the question now to kind of bring it in, this time was the great pause for me. So in that season, because I wasn't able to go or to mourn or to relax after my mom passing just this August in 2019, I was very upset. I was moody. I was angry. I was mad. I was just, I have to keep going. Cause things happen. I was like, okay, I lost my mom. Oh, well, I mean, not, oh, well, bad, you guys, you have to listen. Like as a mom, I'm like, I have to go to work. I still have to put a smile on it. I still have to tell the kids everything's going to be okay. I still have to tell everyone I love you and all this stuff, even though I was hurting inside. And then the great pause came, like we said, now the corona. I ended up quitting my job. I left my job right before the order came out. I decided to quit on my own because I was like, this is too much and I'm stressed. And I always remember my mom telling me I work too much and I do too much.
Mhm.
And then this happened. And then I was able to go to myself. And I think you guys are good with this. I'm a woman of faith. So I was like, okay, God, where do you want me? What should I do in this pause? So for me with the coronavirus, it wasn't really a crisis. It was a way for me to stop and say, okay, now guide me and correct me. Because I know I was in a crisis before corona. I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So corona was just, it was nothing because I was already going through before this. And that's when I get to the point now where I was like, okay, God, what do I want to do? So it's like, you want to coach, you want to teach, you want to train. I had all this stuff. I was, when you call them side hustles, and Edith, you had a side hustle. I had many side hustles and I was helping people. I was writing books. I was doing things on the side, never making it a full-time gig because I didn't believe in myself or believe that I could sustain an income. Because in my head, and this is my journey, that I had to have a secure career. And I came from the hood. I come from low income. So for me, I had to put my head up high, wear a suit, and look good to say I made it and to say I was somebody. And with that, I continued to work. And then now that I'm in the great pause, I decided I'm going to work for Wanda. I'm going to work with God. I'm going to use my talents. I'm going to use my passion. I'm going to use my gifts and serve and help others. So I started a Facebook group. I started teaching people. I started bringing people on Zoom and boom, I had a business.
Nice.
The business came before I even thought of anything. Literally, I was just like, here, I'm here to give. And out of that, I built a whole empire.
Going the way you should go and your gifts will make room for you. That is so, again, another secret, a path to success. And kudos to you for making that tough decision to walk away from an existence into your purpose. And one of the ways I look at that is we've all been given a gift in our faith, and I share that faith with you. People believe in different things, universe, Allah. Mine, I believe in God, and that name doesn't fully define it. To him, the entity, both masculine and feminine. Different conversation for a different day. But in that faith, we've all been given a gift by our Creator. And in this life, if we don't pursue and fulfill that gift, it would be like being given a gift by your parent and sent to a birthday party and not giving the gift you were given to give. I admire
for
and
someone
respect
else
people.
to use and enjoy.
Yes, who give that gift. And if you do that in faith, seeking divine guidance, discernment, your gift will make room for you. You'll find a sense of purpose. Where they say find a job that you love and you never work a day in your life. We've heard those statements made. I, through health reasons, had to leave a corporate career after I'd added up the numbers. I ran my Social Security statement the other day. I've been working for over 40 years.
Wow.
I didn't realize that. I started in high school. I had 3 jobs in high school. I'm not of Jamaican descent, even though the joke is they have many jobs. But my dad was an entrepreneur, and the way to win his respect was to have jobs. I said, wow, that's I should be retired. But I was like you, working because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And that gave me significance. And I don't know if it's importance, but that was my obligation and responsibility. I worked myself into a chronic illness. And that was, I believe, the divinely inspired way of saying, okay, since you're so hard-headed and you won't listen to what I've asked you to do and told you to do for 20, 25 years, I'm going to disable you from doing anything else. And literally, I have no energy and will tell you to do anything else what I love to do. And one of the doctors wrote out a prescription. When you're doing what you love and you enjoy it, you can get back to 80% of your former self, perhaps without medication.
Mm.
So I am encouraged by you that didn't take getting to that point, that you eventually got there.
Well, it took I admit, I'm going to say I didn't get to totally sickness, but I've had sickness in my life. I wrote a book, and I wrote a book about Insight 2020, and the book, it talks about 20 things I've gone through and I've seen in my life. And one of the things in there is about your body will rest. And because I've had a great fall in the military where I was almost paralyzed, I couldn't walk for weeks, and I still have suffering from those injuries because I was on the go and I was too fast moving, not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to pay attention and make sure your hand and your feet, and I'm trying to say this in as a metaphor, make sure you're good. Not saying you can't climb the mountain, but you have to make sure you're helling on right.
Yes.
And if you don't, you will slip. And it's not because it wasn't meant for you to climb. It's just because you weren't paying attention. You're being too fast. And that was myself. And then another time I had pneumonia in 2016. Once again, mama can do it all. Single mom. We just bought a house and I'm go, go, go. It's raining. I had a cold and my son's like, slow down, take leave. And I'm like, I got it, honey. Boy, I went to sleep one night. I thought I was drowning and kind of find out I had pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
It laid me down for weeks. And so now I was like, I don't play. I already got spanked twice. So I'm scared for a third one. I'm like, Lord, I don't want a third one. I'm scared. I'll take a back pain and a pneumonia in a day. I don't know what's worse than that. So I ain't going to try no third spanking. I'm good. I listen. I'm not hard-headed like you.
Don't. Cancer was my second.
Oh, Jesus.
And I still didn't listen.
Oh. I'm scared. Now, Daddy got me twice already. Now I'm scared.
Sage, you are wise.
You guys are both paying attention. I mean, a lot of people will have those things happen and not make the connection that the body is telling you to rest. You know, or the body's asking you, or they've given you plenty of signs and you've ignored them, and so it's just going to shut you down. So it's great that you both recognize that. And I wanted to comment too, Wanda, when you said that you were ready for some changes, you asked yourself the questions, you know, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And that's the most important thing. You know, I always tell people are always looking for the answer, right? But it's really about the question, isn't it? You know, I remind people about the show Jeopardy. And you can have the right answer for Jeopardy, but if you don't ask it in the form of a question, it's incorrect. And so that's because the point is, it's not really about the answer, because we think we know what the answer is to happiness, right? It's whatever, money, it's time, it's good health, of course. And then when we think about how we're going to get we don't think about how we're going to get there, or what it's going to take to get there, or what questions we got to ask ourselves, or what things we have to work on within ourselves to get there, you know. And it all starts with asking the right questions. And you know, it's one of the things I lead with, and I had to write it down again when you mentioned it, because I'm in a place right now, like everyone else, where, you know, I'm doing a lot of reflecting on, you know, what I've been through and, you know, where I want to go next. A lot of industries have changed. I'm a hairdresser by trade as well. So that's one of the things that for the foreseeable future can't be replaced with AI. They're getting close to it, but I don't know. I don't think people are going to trust the robot. You know? So I still there's still a really big need for people like me, right? And what I do. So, but at the same time, things are changing, and with the world going through a reset and the opportunity to slow down, just like everyone else, I'm kind of looking at what I do and what I want to do and where I want to go and where I've been, and you know, making sure that I talk to myself the right way, you know, and ask myself the right questions with the right tone. I just think it's just something that, you know, and I'm trying to take it easy on myself as well, because we're all a part of this collective, right? This human consciousness, and everyone is feeling a lot of movement whether they recognize what it is or not, or however they choose to deal with it. So once again, just kind of, just going downstream, right? Going with the flow of things. And,
I love Ian's humility. Hairdresser, right? Ian's an artist, right? And that's how I met. But I would go and make appointments not to get my hair did, but for consult coaching sessions. To sit in his chair was therapy for me, and the conversations and the depth of what we would. The hair was a byproduct. He's an artist. He's choosing to exercise his artistry in that fashion, but also in the music industry, being a musician, accomplished musician on multiple instruments, also being, having managed bands, also putting together various creative shows. He's been highly successful here in South Florida in putting together different types of get-togethers. One, I even got a chance to participate. It was awesome, whether it be open mic, live on stage, or events with accomplished musicians, shows that others have tried to replicate unsuccessfully, being an MC, being a co-host. So nice try to get away with the hairdresser, but we ain't having it. He is
good.
He is an absolute, and that's not to downplay that, mind you, because that is one of the people that's critical for a lot of folks. That's why you're not seeing a lot of people right now during this great pause, because they're not seeing one of the top 5 most important people in their life.
Right.
They're hiding. So it's a critical need, and people just downplay that for the wrong reasons. But he's just genius in so many ways, and nothing is beneath him. At the same time, nothing is above and beyond him. So nice. I wasn't gonna let you get away with that, brother. It's just
appreciate it
too much.
a little bit more.
But you all are just speaking to, rather than asking why me, the pity party. We can invite people and people don't show up. What I'm hearing you say is you're asking why this, and then go to what now. So, and that encapsulates accepting it for what it is, why this, and trying to seek to understand, and then with a mindset of looking forward. Okay, what am I going to do with this? If bad things happen to good people. Scripturally, the sun shines on the just and the unjust. So I'm not going to look at why is that criminal person, that crooked person, that awful person seemingly to have good luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe there's a quote, the harder I work, the better luck I seem to have. I believe in serendipity. I believe in things happen for a reason, and that if you apply effort, things have a tendency to work out. So focus on what seems to be happening well for other people. It's moreover, where is the learning in this challenge for me? What am I supposed to get and gain, or what opportunity resides within this, and how can I help? How can that help me? And in many times the answer has come, you can utilize and leverage this to help other individuals, and there's a sense of fulfillment that comes from that, which it sounds like, Wanda, that's what you've done. Where I mean, it's probably obvious as the nose on my face that leadership and financial literacy are something that women can use help with. But this may be a really stupid question. How did you arrive at that? Was there a unique path, or was it just Nate? That's kind of obvious.
No, Nate, it's not very obvious. Here's what I would tell you. And as you just said, I just had an aha moment. Yes, women do need leadership development. That's what I do. And also financial literacy, but also financial security. But here's more of the sad part of it for me. I'm still doing this work. So no matter how much we already know financial is not even discussed in schools or discussed in homes, but also as women, I focus on women. I, say nothing about my guys. I have 2 sons myself, and they're very financial savvy. And I make sure my future in-law as well. But as girls, money, you have to understand what to do with money and where money is important and also the money mindset. So first, I've gotten to leadership and finances because of myself. One, leadership, military. I was always the kind of person, listen, let me just break it down because it's not as easy as people think, because everyone asked me this question before. It's because I'm the kind of kid, and I was the little girl in the playground, that I'm going to do it. I did not like being in second place. I did not like being in third place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take your first place title, but you're going to teach me everything you do to become first place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not trying to say I want to beat you. I just want first place. So it's not personal, it's business. So if you get sick, I'm next in line, So if you don't be in that race, I'm the next one to win, right? I don't want to go from second to third place. Someone else be better. So in life, I've always done that. So when I was in leadership, I started out, because everyone asked 25 years. So I started as a private, just a little, private with nothing on your chest. But then it was your rank was on your chest. Now the rank is on your shoulder, on your collar. But no, it was on your collar. Now it's on your chest. Sorry. But I started out as a private, and then I ended up retiring as a major. And that's because I went to OCS. I went while I was there, got my bachelor's, because I went to school. I joined the military for education.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn more. And I just wasn't happy as an NCO. So I wanted to get out at one time. I didn't like the military. I was going to get out of the Army. I just couldn't do it. And then I had an NCO. And this was great because I knew when we were talking about cancel who you hang around. I like honest feedback. And that's one of my principles I teach in my course. Is I was so blessed to have somebody come to me one time, Nate and Ian, and said to me, "You suck as an NCO." And that's like a middle management in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, "You suck." Now, anybody else would have heard that and start crying and started being upset or, oh, you hurt my feelings. I looked at him and I was like, I know, right? And he just looked at me. Because I did. I suck. I hated it. And I was like, I know, right? I suck. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to get out. So that's when I pivot and shift again. He was like, you are horrible. And he was saying, you're terrible as an NCO, but you're a great leader. And I was like, a leader? Okay, let me use this word leader. And then he was like, I could see you being a commander. And for me, commander as a soldier was the captain, right? The commander of the company, that person you look up to who does everything, and you have first sergeant. So I was like, commander? I can't be a commander. And he's like, I will be proud to have you as a commander because you see the big picture. And I think you're more of an officer than an NCO. So I was like, really? And I was like, well, officers don't do anything. They don't work. And he said, you'd be surprised. So once again, you think you know it all when you're a kid. And as a kid, I mean, like in my 20s. So you think you know it all. You think you're grown when you're in your 20s. Mm-hmm. And I went and talked to the lieutenant and boom, he educated me about being an officer. I went to a couple of the meetings. I love leadership. I love the influence, the impact. I love the problems you had to solve at that level. I love the conversations they were having. It was so, and this is something, and I don't want to take this wrong. I was just on the wrong group. Mm-hmm. I was not saying I was smarter than anybody. It was just, I wasn't in the right group, having the right conversations, having the right atmosphere. And so once I moved to that officer level, oh my goodness, 25 years, boom, I'm here. It was the best decision when someone told me I sucked. That's how I always put it. And that's for the leadership part. So that's a lot to break down. How do you feel?
That is, you've encapsulated two things. You've encapsulated and embodied, rather. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So when you start your day with, you know where you're good. You don't need people to tell you that. That's just patronizing, and that's for the ego. And ego, edging God out. It's not a place I live.
Yes.
But the feedback, where can I improve? Where can I be better? Or am I trying to be a square peg in a round hole? I'm not going to focus and try to do the things I'm not best at. Rather, I'm going to do the things I have a potential to be best at. So if I suck at doing this, either it means I shouldn't be doing it or I can do better. Both good things, not suck and sit. I also want to clarify one thing. When I said, is it obvious, a duh, versus an aha moment, I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I'm saying it from a perspective of my experience has been women have always been overlooked on leadership and financial matters. That it was always presumed that they weren't qualified, equipped, and that was a man thing. So I say that more from those people that have bluntly misogynistic or chauvinistic views towards women, that having a son and two daughters. And my first experience with women was my mom. She is the strongest, most courageous, most intelligent, graceful, eloquent individual I know. And she was not only my first best friend, but just just everything that I've come to. She shaped my view on women. Her and my dad still married after 60 some odd years. He's an entrepreneur, self-made millionaire a couple times, but I'm much closer, to my mom. My dad didn't really see eye to eye, mainly because he was taller than me. But it was she was the one that set that example. It was sort of like so when I fast forward, ran into people having counter views on women. I didn't understand that because it was foreign to me. There was always this level of profound respect. It was like my neighbor, he used to take me to play golf. I was his caddy, meaning he would rent a cart, let me drive it, and that was fun as a 9-year-old, and pay me and then buy lunch. That's not what a caddy does, but he was just a great guy. And he, being a banker, would go with his African-American, would go with his fraternity brothers and play golf on Saturdays. It wasn't until later in life that I realized that golf is viewed as a white elitist sport, because that wasn't my induction into it. I just thought that's what people do. So the same, I make that comparison to my mom. It wasn't until later into life that women aren't supposed to. Are you kidding? She runs a household. There's 5 kids. She's my dad's business partner in some respects. When he takes her advice, it took me a long time to start taking my own wife's advice. I'd be better off if I had earlier, but it's just a man thing. We're hunter-gatherers. That's what we do. So I need to qualify that statement of it's, all too often women aren't looked as that. In my opinion, I think they are equivalent and in some ways better leaders. And that's, again, not a slam against. It's just that women have, there's thought and depth behind decisions, not frailty and egos. But again, that's another conversation for another day.
Oh yeah, I like to talk about that conversation. When you do have one, please invite me back, because that's when I'm, oh, you got me. Because when you said that, I didn't even go there because I went through that little journey, but and I'll make it really quick.
Oh, so take your time, actually. Okay. Maybe it's a conversation for today.
Okay. So I want to talk about the gap, because I have women, we talk about the leadership gap thing, and I'm on the proponent, and people are going to probably take it wrong, so just be prepared for this. The whole gender pay gap. I don't know what it is. I don't discuss it. There are too many elements, and there are too many factors, and there are too many ways to say if it exists and don't exist. I'm not going to play that game. But what I do know, for 25 years, I was in a career in an industry where there was no gender pay gap. I got paid just as equal as any male. It was rank, time and service, and your performance, therefore, to be promoted. In that time, though, here's what I would tell you. And anyone could take this away, so you have to know where my heart is with this one. In that season of the equal pay gap, let's just call that, with the equal pay gender gap that I was experienced, when I was told to deploy, I deployed. That means I had 3 kids. I had to give up custody of my kids to an ex-husband who was very not nice to me, I'll put it that way, and pay child support to that person. And then we're talking about living in a household where I had to have someone, when I was a single mom, come live with me. I had to hire a nanny. I had to work late. Because if John can work to midnight, Wanda was expected to work to midnight. They didn't care that Wanda was a mother. They didn't care Wanda was a single mom. But once again, when we say about equal gender pay, and I'm just refreshing the words, we're saying the unequal pay, let's say equal pay. I lived that world for 25 years, and equally I was working, equally I deployed, and equally I gave up and left my kids. So I think more of having that conversation. I don't argue the gender gap. I don't care about it. What I want to talk about is like exactly what you said, is the gap in leadership development. There's a gap in culture on what people believe and how they were raised. I think there's a gap in career opportunities, because I've seen now in the military service that women were not selected for certain positions. Like we have operation officers, and we'll call them the S3s. And any of our veterans listening, they will know what an S3 is. Usually they would have the male in there, or the second command will be a male if there was choices. Now, they would never intentionally say they picked a female, but those are jobs most males would get. But my issue is, why not give it to a female? Because how can she develop her leadership, go through crisis, understand how to make those hard decisions, unless you put her in the frying pan? So don't say women can't make decisions. Put me in an environment where I can develop my decision-making and critical thinking concepts. All right, I don't want to preach, but so that's how I feel about that situation. You mean, you got to, like your child, don't tell them they can never drive, but you never give them driver lessons.
Completely.
You know, let's break it down simple for us that had kids. You know, my kids are drivers, but I had to give them the keys. I had to go with them. I had to train them, let them scuff up the car a little bit, but it was okay. But now they're good drivers. They can do their own thing. But it had to be a part when you was in that training and you was trusting mode. And we don't train and trust our female leaders like we should. So yeah, I've been there, and I've been the only Black person in a lot of units and a lot of situations in the Army, and I've been the only female, and then I have been the only Black female. And it was like a double dip, and you had to prove yourself, but I try never to focus on race or my gender. I always say, okay, God, my character, who I am as a person, my competency, I know my craft. Like, you cannot tell me nothing about. I was logistics. So, and I did government budgets and things like that. You couldn't tell me about logistic vendors, transportation. I know that back and forth. I knew my craft. I studied harder so I can have the courage and the competency to speak, and the confidence as well. And then, third, when I was in those positions, it was always about the way you carry yourself. And I would like to tell women, for me, even in a crisis, the way you carry yourself, and we're going to stick it back to there in the household, have confidence that this too shall pass. Have confidence that you're ready for this. Have confidence that you're preparing. Have confidence that you're going to learn a lesson out of this. And it's all about that confidence. And it's not just putting your head up and I'm the one, but it's more like confidence means, okay, standing up to say, I'm here. That's what, to me, confidence is. It's just to stand up and say, I'm here. It takes confidence to say, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to show. I'm willing to be. That's it. I get on a tangent, boy. Woo! I love it.
That was a good run. That was a really good run. And what I really like about listening to you, Wanda, is you have a perspective that is pretty consistent, and the way that you look at things. Like you had mentioned how you recognize that you weren't in the right group, and once you were put in the right group, not to say the other group was a bad group, it just wasn't the right group for you. But it's like you recognize that, and then that same perspective, you went on to say, how if you're just doing the work and preparing and you're showing up, you're giving yourself a fighting chance. It's just a very consistent way in your perspective. I think it's great. And how you also said things like, I want to win, but not necessarily beat you. That right there too is, represents like the way that you're looking at things, your perspective on things, which I think is very, very refreshing. And it helps me to understand why you went into, once again, that wonderful title for your workshops as the Insight Mastermind cycle. Because just as I suspected, you're really focused, on yourself. And that doesn't mean that being focused on yourself, you can't help others, which is what you've demonstrated as well. And I think Nate and I always go back and forward with the fact that we're both altruistic beings, and we want to help people, and we can't just not offer a kind word or share some warm energy. And then, but how do you not feel that that's wasted, if it's not reciprocated in the areas that you spent it? And what I like about you and what I'm hearing from your perspective is you stay in training mode. You recognize that opportunities or places that you are going to give you an opportunity to get better at yourself, and then you're instantly ready to share what you've learned with others, because other people are going through it too. And yeah, when I look at your strategy sessions and this and that, I'm saying, man, they're just talking about women. I need to get down with some of this stuff right here, But
I have I'm making my own little unit. I'm like, we're gonna take over the world.
No, I get it.
my ladies are awesome.
I get it. I mean, like I'm gonna share your website with my daughter.
Thank you.
And, because it's like I said, it's once again, it's about your perspective and the way you look at things. Because like they say, is the glass half empty or half full? And it's not necessarily. It's not always about that, but when you take the time to have a look at a situation and study it from all angles, I guess that's probably your military background as well.
Yes.
And you sharing that with other people, that's fantastic. It's hard not to feel selfish when you focus on yourself. And that's one of the things that I've always struggled with. I feel like if I focus on myself too much, does that make me selfish? Mm-hmm. But if I'm not the best me I can be, then I can't be that for the people that I love, that I want to give more to, so it's really about your perspective. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I like how you just said that, because when you were talking about focusing, because a lot of people do say, you always worry about you're always reading, Wanda, you're always studying. And I said, I do that because I want to be the best in the world, because I always think about, my grandmother said, you got to be a full vessel. Like if you ever run empty, and I think that's my only concern in life. Absolutely. Is like, I don't want to be an empty vessel. So I continue to fill myself with people like you. I continue to read. I continue to watch inspiration. I continue to pray. I continue to study all this stuff inside me. So when people, like you said, come to me, I'm able to pour on them. And I pour on so many people. If I don't, I will run dry. And then to me, and this is my belief personally, if I run dry, I have no longer a purpose. So that's my own little in my head. So for me to maintain my purpose, I continue to fill so I can always pour. And that's how I live my life every day.
And to that end, it is focus on self is not selfish. It's a form of self-care.
Amen.
And
yes.
What you just said about being a full vessel is scripturally, we are supposed to give from the overflow. So if you get to a dry state, then it should be so overflowing, effervescent, almost effortless when you're letting that light shine. Mm-hmm. Our first responsibility should be ourselves, right? That's the temple that we're supposed to take care of. And people miss that concept. But all what you said in that regard was what? Focused on other people.
It's pouring, yeah.
What you both said, if I'm the best version of myself, others will be helped. Mm-hmm. So going back to what you said earlier, I'm not trying to beat you. If the whole focus is on putting you down, that's erroneous. That's when it's selfish. Mm-hmm. But if the focus on if I'm best, then others are going to benefit from that. That's the right motivation. That's the right. The word manipulation turns negative based on the meaning, the intent. And if you're trying to manipulate a situation for your own good, and others are going to not benefit from it, that's a bad connotation. But sometimes we have to manipulate certain situations. That's if clay, as we are in the potter's hands, that has to be manipulated for good purposes. So intent is crucial. You did strike a nerve, and yes, now the conversation is about that today. One of the things that inspired me in reading of your background and what you've done in focusing on leadership in women is what you're saying, and what I heard you say is, I'm not saying I'm better than you, but let me make it very clear. I'm not less than you either. I am equal. That's the message. And too often that message gets lost. Stop looking down at me. Look over at me or look at me in my eyes.
Yes.
And let the better person, win. If you don't want it, I'm going after it. If you want it, you go for it too. And I'm willing to be your equal, to compete with you. And look at me as that. You've worked and lived in an environment where it was equal pay, equal responsibility. And last I checked, that works pretty good.
I guess you just got to sew into it, though.
Right.
Be careful what you sew into.
Very true. Very true. I mean, but it's not like some are purporting, well, if you pay women equal pay, they're not going to have the skill set, the ability. You prove that you could do it. It could be done. Now, and that is in an extreme environment. If you put that in the corporate environment, the sacrifices are not going to be that extreme. And as long we're going there. In my corporate experience, I have had more females on my team than men. And it wasn't because I looked at females. I looked for the best candidate. I went so far as to be chastised for having too many females on my team. And the worst case scenario during a review, I recall being chastised for having too many attractive females on my team.
Wow.
I had to throw up a little bit in my mouth during that. I would hear things like, those are Nate's angels. And I said, I don't really care about what you're saying about me, but don't you know that's disrespecting these individuals who have a tremendous skill set? I hired the best person for the job. And guess what? When we came into a crisis, they did just what you said, stood up. I'm here. I'm present. They were courageous. They were some of the best performing teams that I've had. And I promoted them in various levels into leadership roles. My whole aim was, I want you to want my job. In order for me to get promoted, that's not the first priority, I have to have a replacement. So whoever wants it, I want to train you, and I'm going to push you and drive you and treat you as an equal, right? In order for you to be able to hold your own. I didn't win friends above me for doing that. And sadly, both male and female superiors had an issue with that. And and my team saw it, and many of them didn't want my job because they saw what they were in store for in those environments. But others, they excelled. Some went on to start their own companies. Some went on to find jobs that they enjoy and they love. Some walked away from a very toxic environment, but they were, I'm going to say, more capable, because there's a certain entitlement or a certain expectation. I'm a guy, so I should be given. And no, you earn it. You earn respect. It shouldn't be given to you, right? You command respect. You earn trust. It's none of that is entitled. And so I went out of my way to do everything that I could. And there's a way of, there's called pay it forward. I call it plant it forward.
Ooh.
Okay. I have two daughters who, at the time when they were young, that were going to be in the workforce. And I didn't want to end up behind bars for strangling some manager of theirs for treating them in a way that they shouldn't have. So I'm going to plant positive seeds forward. So when they're out there, they hopefully will be treated with a level of respect and equality that they deserve, because they were raised with the right priorities. And what you said, character, right? That's what both of you taught. You emphasize that. Character it's an inside out thing. Right? Commanding respect. I even taught them, dress in a manner that doesn't draw attention to you nor send it away. Right? Then you need to be respected for your brains and your heart, and then connect those two. What you've spoken to, and as women so often get chastised for being emotional, there wasn't an ounce of emotion in what you just spoke to when you spoke. It was passion.
Yes.
And passion is commitment. And dedication, commitment. Yeah, in the ham and egg breakfast, the chicken contributed, right? The pig was committed. Right? And that's what I look for in individuals when crisis comes. I didn't say if. You want people who are committed, who are willing to stand up, and you've done it literally in the heat of battle where you were. You need to know that you can rely on individuals. And that's a character thing. That's not a gender thing.
That is true. That is true. And I love when you said that. And that kind of go like when you said the battle. And I said before, I commanded in Iraq. So I had my own unit. So that means you command. I was a captain. I kind of commander. I had my first sergeant. And we did logistics and we did the convoys, as you're familiar, what we will go out and resupply in through harm's way. So when you had most of the deaths, it was in people. I would pray over the convoy. I would be silent and listen to like, okay, because everyone has an opinion, but you have to make those hard decisions when you're in a leadership. And for me, I was their first female, back then it's called Forward Support Company. Well, I think it's still called that, but I was the first female in the brigade that was selected for the position because it was a male position at first. And then because it was on the front line and you were going, like in that, it was like frontline, now we have like Rangers females and stuff. But before then, when I was in, I was the first female that took that command. And I was so humble, but he was like, because I know you can handle it. It's going to be hard. You're going to endure a lot, but I know you can take it. And that's what the colonel told me. That's the reason he gave it to me. Because he said, of all the candidates, I know you're the one that's going to be okay at the end of it. And I was okay. But when it came to, like you said, in combat, I had to rely and trust. I didn't care you was a man, woman, boy, girl, 17, 49. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Can you do your job? Can you commit? Give it your all. If I ask you to watch my back, can I trust you're going to watch my back?
Absolutely.
If I was right there, if I had to watch your back, I would, because I don't want to have to answer your dad and said, well, I got scared, I ran. If I can't say that to your father or your mother, then I don't need you to say that to my father or mother. So I made sure on my team, I hand selected, first sergeant and I hand selected our gun truck team. And that's the security team that goes with you as the commander. And I hand selected every single person in there and looked in them in their eyes and made sure at the end of the day, are you willing to give it all? And every one of them was like, yes. They're like, ma'am, are you? I say, yes, I will give it all for you. And that was my group. And that was our pledge to each other. We all come home. And
Nice.
I didn't lose not one person.
Wow.
We all will come home.
Congratulations. Wow. That's phenomenal. You've spoken to leadership is not born, it's curated.
Yes.
And in some respects curated like getting the dross out of the gold, high heat.
Yes.
You're put under extreme pressure, and the real individual comes from the inside, comes out who you really are. Again, that's not a gender thing. That's a character thing. That's an individual thing. It's a choice that you made. And as a leader, you emulated that leadership and inspired others to live up to that level. That's really what leadership is. It's being in front, not yelling and, I'm a boss. I don't believe in that word. I don't allow my teams, when I was in corporate America, to call me boss. First of all, spelled backwards, it's a double SOB. But a boss tells people what to do. Boss, is autocratic. I asked people to, actually the only time I would act like a boss is require them to call me coach, right? The coach, and coaching, that's what you are, is your biggest cheerleader. Also your biggest accountability partner. It's that individual that sees the greatness in you, pulls it out of you. I call it mine and refine, shows it to you to help you, to challenge you, to grow and develop it. Now, they're not going to care about you any more than you care about yourself, because that's a physical impossibility. You've got to care. As individuals, no one's going to love us more than we love ourselves. No one's going to care about us more than we care about ourselves, and no one's going to respect us more than we'll respect ourselves. So we have to teach others to raise that level. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care about your past. You are a living example of that. You've had many a challenges, many a crisis ongoing. This pause, yeah, whatever. That's okay. Now you're at my address. Now you know. Welcome to my world is what you're saying.
My world, right? Okay.
Well, this crisis is sending some people over the edge. For the three of us, okay, we're still there today. Oh, great! Now the whole world. Now we're on the equal playing field.
Sad,
and
yes.
That's where leaders are born, birthed, also develop and excel, And it's an opportunity if we look at it as such. The facades of what is supposed to have mattered, that was important. People aren't, you don't see car commercials about impress your neighbors. I just want to keep a roof over my head, and I'd like to not get this virus, and I'd like to just be able to go to the beach or the store or something. I don't care about impressing anybody. So that satiated, consumer-driven people are waking up, which is a good thing. There are those that want to return to the normal too, and you touched on it earlier. We surround ourselves with this bubble of it's a facade at best. It's not real, and that's that. Then when that bubble bursts, now we've got trouble. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but if we could wake up, and crisis is going to happen, challenges are going to occur. It's how we get through them, not dodging them, not going around them, not avoiding them. That's just wasting time. And as you edify this, well, embracing them like you chose it.
I'd like to add to what you're saying, Nate, and to bring in a little bit back to what Wanda said. Once again, it's perspective, right? And we have an opportunity to look at what's happening, and we can say, is this happening to me or for me? Mm-hmm. And I noticed that's one of the things that Wanda probably stuck to, through her years and through a lot of her crises. Once again, the way that you share your insight, it's like you really take time to analyze something. And I think one of the things that I'm really getting out of this conversation is to remind myself that I can look at something from a different angle, a different perspective, inside out, from another, from another person's eyes, or by, I don't know, just being creative. Because there's so many different ways to look at one thing, and we're all sharing this worldwide crisis, and like, the three of us, we admit that, hey, maybe our lives we were in a crisis before this coronavirus, or we've lived through so many crises that were built for this, right? So for people like us, we have that perspective. And then, so what we would like to share with other people that maybe this is their first time going through something so heavy is, maybe step back and turn the crisis on its head, turn it on a side, turn it around, look inside, look outside, and try to figure out and try to step back and say, hey, this is not happening to me, or this is not something that I did to cause this. What's happening that's for me right now? Because everything here in this existence is for our enjoyment and for our enhancement as humans. So once again, that's one of the biggest things I'm taking from this conversation. And I think all three of us weren't really sure what we would totally get out of it, and if we could put it into one word, but really just trying to find more creative ways to look at something, and and employing the positive outlook and the structure of training, and how can I get better? How can I use this? And what's happening for me, so that's what I'm really gaining from this conversation with the two of you. I appreciate it. It's reminding me of that.
I love how you said that, Ian. I just wrote down was, the way you look at it. I'm gonna have to use that again when I talk to my ladies. It's about take the situation. You say, turn it upside down, flip it over, look inside of it. I never thought of it, of the spots. You just keep analyzing it and looking at. I love that visual. I'm a very visual person. And that's how I see. I was like, that's right. What is this for me? Instead of against me, how can I use this box or this thing for me? And I love it. I love the way you tied that up. That's awesome.
Yeah, you helped me to get there. So thank you. That was
so much love and appreciation. It's just like, no, you're
collaborative. That was
I love this. I love, oh my goodness, when you're around good counsel, it's just like, oh yes.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is about. It's individuals talking to each other realistically, authentically, and we're gaining things for ourselves and simply sharing it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the content, I'll say all of the content I post, I'm talking to myself. I'm just choosing. It's for me. I wrote my book for myself. That's, and jotted down, and maybe it's a diary of getting through crisis, but it was for me, and I decided to share it. And that's some of the best things when you're humble, enough to recognize your own areas of opportunity and look to improve those and then share that because others can benefit from it. You mentioned one thing against me. One of the things you learn about people is people are not against you. Never take anything personally. The Four Agreements is a great book.
Yes.
People are for themselves. They're not against you. So it helps me to be able to look at things differently. You remove that lens altogether from that, and then you're able to better see what it is that you're looking for. If you look for the opportunity, how can I grow from this? How can I benefit from this? Question. You talked about, Wanda, your upbringing, challenges. We went through high school really quick, college challenges, military challenges, career challenges. When have you ever not been dealing with crisis or challenge?
This is going to be I love that question. My mentor and I just talked about that and how, hold on for a minute. I think it's come on in, go, run. Okay. Sorry. Real life. You got family members.
Absolutely.
That's my challenge right there. No, I'm just I love her. I love my sister. Okay. So really, honestly, for me, she and I was just talking and I made a joke, and you guys have to see how you guys take this as well as everyone listening. One, I see honestly nothing as a real crisis or challenge. And I'm not saying that just like, oh, everything is rainbows and puppy dog tails and unicorns. But what I say that to mean, I truly believe it happens. So I got this saying, and I'm going to make sure I pronounce it right so it won't be no one think I'm saying something wrong. It's called Shilt happens. And Shilt is SHILT. And it's something I used to say in the military. I used to say it the other way without the L, but I added the L in there because I lost my mom in August, and I never really experienced true loss until my mother passed. Because my grandmother passed, I lost, but I had my mom, and she and I, because my grandmother raised us both, so it's kind of like me and her both sad over mama. But when I lost my mom, that's when I was really sad. So what happens is you're all going to have setbacks. We're always going to have hardship. We're always going to have an illness. We're always going to have a loss. And we're always going to go through some kind of transition in life.
Love that.
One of the 5 at all times. Now, you may have 0 out of 5. God bless you. I don't know who you are. But some of us may have 5 out of 5. God bless you. I don't know who you are. But I'm just grateful to still be walking. And as we all go through these setbacks, hardships, illness, loss, or transition, even now, I'm still raising my business. I'm growing my business. I have a bigger vision. I'm growing my team. And it's hard. So there's never a time for me that I'm ever in a challenge, because I said it's supposed to be that way. But then I'm always in a challenge because it's supposed to be that way. So I can't really say there's never a time when I'm not, but then I don't really look at it as a challenge because I look at it as another stair, if you will. Oh, I love that. I just had a visual of, I look at it as a stair, as me getting closer and closer to, well done, my girl, like, well done. And it's never really, it's a hard stairwell. It's never hard. It's never whatever. It's just, one more step. It's just another step. And the more I do, oh my goodness, the harder the stairs are getting, and the wider and the taller they're getting. But I continue to want to go higher. So is that really bad or a crisis? No, I just choose not to stay on stair 3. I want to do stair 4. So as you, what they said, get promoted, so do the problems, so do the devils, and so do everything else go with it. So for me, I'm never really in a challenge, but I'm always in a challenge.
Nice.
There we go. That's the short answer.
Nice. Love that answer. You have shifted your perspective, as Ian talked about earlier, completely from crisis to opportunity. You see it, you don't even use the word, it's not in your barely in
Yeah.
your vocabulary. You look at that as another opportunity. You're
Yeah.
starting out on that right foot, with sure footing.
Hmm. I'm a
Wow.
hustler. I get it from my mommy. I tell my mom, she was like, my mom, I love that lady. She was a freaking hustler. Like growing up, when you want to talk about a woman that went through some crisis and things and with my dad and never having money or anything, that woman will make something out of nothing. I don't know how she did it. She did it. And for her, that was how I grew up. Like mommy will fix everything. Like that was her saying, I fix it. I got you, girl. I got you. So I grew up and I said it to my kids, mommy can fix it. I got you. I got it. What? You needed this? Okay, I got it. I'll figure it out. And I've just always, so now to me, there's nothing ever really a challenge because I just like, we'll figure it out. And if it's a challenge, inshallah, it doesn't mean to happen. Move on. So I'm easy. I'm not stuck to anything. Inshallah. It will be. If
You're
not,
on
move
flow.
on. Move on. Guess it won't meant for me to have that. And I don't cry about stuff like that. I'm like, because I'm blessed with 5 other things I'm loving about life. So
Nice. You are your mother's daughter.
thank you. She be happy. She like, I told you so. I'd be like, I'm nothing like you. You know how you do your mom. You're just like me. I was like, no, I'm not. The older I'm getting, the more I'm sorry. I just did my brother. I had a little wrap on my head and I had my hair up and I had no makeup on and my face was like this. My brother said something and I'm on the phone. We were doing the FaceTime thing now. And I'm talking to him. He's like, oh my God, you look like mommy. I'm like, what? Boy. And he's like, oh. And he's like, he's almost started crying. He was like, oh my God, you sound like mommy. I'm like, no, because you know better. And I'm fussing at him and it just starts, I'm like, oh, I'm turning into my mother. I was like, she knows what she's talking about. So
channeling her. That's you were channeling her. Nice.
Oh my goodness. I just have fun with life, Nate. I'm loving my life.
You are such a joy to talk to. I would love to continue this dialogue forever. We're coming up.
This has to be a recurring. She has to be a recurring.
Yay!
You have got to come back.
You got to, guys. Oh man, I would love this. We got to get you guys on. I got to do something. Put you guys on too. I love this conversation. I love the honesty, and I love your brilliance and your genius in both of you. And I love the candor and the tempo. And I know people don't understand, but maybe you guys will understand this. The tempo is beautiful. So thank you for giving us that space for us to talk about this and weave in everything that needs to be said right now. So
completely. I've got one last question for you for this episode.
Yes.
And that is, who is your hero and why?
Okay. So my hero has always been one person, and her name is Gloria B. Sally. She have passed away already. It's my grandmother, and we call her Granny G. And she will always be my hero because in the hood, when you have nothing, she made something. I would call it 3 hots and a cot. I didn't know we was poor. I didn't know we didn't have because I always ate pancakes and grits. I always had some pigs in the blanket for lunch. And I had liver and eggs or something for dinner. I always had 3 meals and I always had a bag of Cheetos somewhere hidden. So for me, I had 3 hot meals. She always made sure we were safe and sleeping. We always went to church. And all the stuff that my grandmother went through, and she also raised me. My mom had me at 16. Instead of her throwing me away or saying anything negative to my mom, she took me in as her own daughter. And my mother and I, we call ourselves like sister mom. We had that sister mother relationship. And because of that and the education, and she taught me to read, and she made sure I took my SATs, and she made sure I went to college, and she signed me away for the military. I was 17. She's the one that signed me up for it because she believed I needed to leave North Carolina. And that is my hero, because anyone that can see something in you and stick with you, and no matter how many dumb mistakes I made, even when I got pregnant in college, she was still there to wipe my tears and say, I love you. Now let's go. And that's my hero. And that will always be my hero.
Priceless. Absolutely priceless to have someone in your life that unconditionally loves you.
Yeah.
To teach you how to unconditionally love yourself. And then you can infect others with that same ability. That's a life well lived. It's
I'm blessed.
a legacy that you'll be able to look back upon. And if again, in our perspectives, and that seems to be a theme here, if we look at life in that way, when I look back on my life, when I reflect, what will my legacy be? Will it be stuff and things? Will it be a wine stain on the carpet? Or will it be having sown into other people's lives through my overflow, through my living my life to the fullest? Will I have positively impacted other people's lives for the better? Will I have helped? Yeah, there's a lot of negative in the world. We can all sit and squalor and whine and moan about that, or we can use our lives as living sacrifices to make an impact, not fight against. I think was what Mother Teresa said, and she'll never go to a anti-rally. But if you want to have pro-peace or pro-anything, sign me up. I'm there. Again, perspective, focus. You get what you see, what you focus on, what you visualize, and you epitomize that. I am so honored to have had you as a guest, as our first guest. I'm excited. You inspire me to continue doing this. As Ian said, we weren't sure how it was going to go, but you get the right people in the right room and with the right energy and the right hearts and minds and brilliance. I have learned and grown so much from being in the presence of you two. I don't say that patronizingly. I mean it.
Oh no, I got 2 pages of notes. I'm taking notes on this. I'm like, nice. Oh, that's good. Oh, okay. I need to study that. I'm awesome. Walking away full. You truly, you two you filled me today. Yes, awesome. Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, this is Nate, our conversation we're sharing with other people.
Right. So Nate, but Nate, you've really been, putting things together for this conversation. Mm-hmm. You have been putting all the pieces together, and however we want to look at it, whatever metaphor, the stars lined up or whatever, but you put all the pieces together, connected all the dots. And just like anyone would tell you, especially our very insightful guest, when you lay the groundwork, if you lay the tracks, right, then you'll get the train. If you cut the path, then you can lead the way. And that's what you've done. And you brought us all here together, and it's a tribute to the vision that you have, that Wanda and I both believe in, which is why we're here with you today. So I think it was great. And Wanda, I'm really excited about the work that you're doing and the way that you're inspiring people. Glad we got you out there, speaking to the ladies and some hard-headed men are going to get this message too.
Yes.
But what you've done, your accomplishments and in the military, and as a single mother.
Absolutely.
Wow. And it's stripes that aren't on your sleeve or on your chest. It's like halos or whatever, but or aura. It really comes through. It really shines through. When you said that your grandmother was your inspiration and you shared what that relationship was, it makes sense with the perspective that you have. You're very grounded, and that comes from a good upbringing. And so once again, you helped to really set this first talk off, and we got a lot more to talk about. I think we're definitely going to be doing this again with you.
Yes.
Bless.
A few times as we go forward, and I look forward to following more of what you're doing and staying in touch, of course.
Yes, please stay in touch.
Yeah.
It has been our honor and privilege to do this with such a captivating, inspiring, brilliant, strong individual as yourself. A woman with finesse and grace, faith, family is a priority. It's been profound. And
hey, Nate, really quick.
Yes.
Can you say something really quick about your website?
Thank you. And your book.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. Oh, goodness. I almost forgot myself. Yes. So I have a book called Insight 2020. So the things we were talking about today and the perspectives, the book is broken down in 5 parts. It talks about personal development, health, relationships, leadership, and legacy. So I invite you to just read it. It's my personal stories in there and some stories. And then I have like a story about my son and how I mentor him. I made him go knocking on doors. It's a funny story. If you ever had a kid that do fundraisers, they're selling cookie dough. Mommy's tired of paying for cookie dough. So we went and got them neighbors' money. So it's a funny story about forcing him to get out of his shell. And you can find it on Amazon, or you can go to my website at wandabooth.com. And it's just Wanda, W-A-N-D-A, Booth, B-O-O-T-H, and .com. And there you can also find a link to my company website. My company is called Insight Masterminds with an S, and you can go there as well, .com. We have our own website, but on the wandabooth.com is the easiest way for people just to find me, love on me. I'm on Facebook. I do have an offer for you guys. If you just want to know more about me, and then if you're a lady who wants to get in my mastermind, we have a free mastermind, and it's free because I like to give, and I just love people. I don't like being alone. I truly love being in the unit. I love being on a team. So I started my own Facebook group, and it's free, and I have ladies come on there, and right now we're doing it once a week, and they come on and tell me their problems, they tell me what they're doing in business, and I just give out free coaching, just literally. And it's not even me giving out a lot of coaching. Other women in the group chime in and say, oh, I know somebody, and they literally go off and help each other and teach each other. I'm just the curator of all these great minds putting it together. But go on the website. There's a bunch of stuff there to see what I am, who I am, and you can get to see if we're a right fit or if you want to get to know me more. But I invite you to the book. If you want to bless me, I will ask you to go buy the book, buy it from me, and I'll sign it and send it to you. So that's
very nice.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. For any other social media or links or anything else you want to share?
Everything. The podcast. You can find me. Everything is on my website. Perfect. Just go to wandabooth.com, and then you can find me on Facebook and then Insight Mastermind. And then the podcast is, let me shout that out. It's called Empowered with Wanda and Z. And if you want something that's so funny, and we have real conversations, but when I mean real, she's like put me on blast. Like today she called me fake. I'm like, what do you mean I'm fake? And she's like, you act fake. And I'm like, what do you mean? So we talked about, it's such two best friends laughing, joking, talking about real conversations, talking about all kinds of stuff. We're grown women, but we're loving life and we're laughing. And that's what we're bringing joy in this corona thing. And that's how we started it, because they were saying we had to be the social distances. We're so hard-headed. I love her. We're sisters. We're like spiritual sisters. And I'm like, I am not going to be away from you for no 8 weeks or something. So we're hard-headed. Yes, she comes over to the house. And I'm like, I love her so much. And I'm like, long you're quarantined, I'm quarantined. And then we start joking. And so we made a podcast about it. And now we're just like having fun because I love her. I can't be totally isolated, if that makes sense.
Nice. Awesome. Nice. Thank you for mentioning that, Ian. It's on the list and I totally forgot.
Thank you.
Always has my back. So let's make sure that you all listening to this, visit Wanda's site, pick up her book. I can pretty much tell you it's going to be awesome. Listen to her podcast. And, maybe Ian and I will sneak in under fictitious names at that mastermind group. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, come on. You'll love it. I'm always looking for I have guys come on and I need vendors. Yes, I need trusted vendors. So I need your expertise so it's not just me. I don't like food. Yes, I'll send you an invite because I want you to tell people your perspectives and your coaching because I don't want them to always hear it from me.
Yeah, I love
I'm a giver. So yes, please. I want your ideas. That's what Masterminds is. Absolutely. It's all about other people's ideas. I don't have all the answers.
Awesome.
So I want your insights.
Love to. As you can see, I love to talk. So love to. Anything else, Ian? I forgot. I'm sure to remember.
No, that was it. I think everything was perfect. Nice meeting you, Wanda.
Nice meeting you guys. You guys have been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to wrap this up, but you guys hang on for a second, and we're going to go there. But thank you all, humans, for listening. I hope that you were helped in some way by this. And as you always hear me say, live your best life on purpose now. I hope that you were able to find some nuggets of wisdom, some inspiration, and something to help you in your life's journey as you progress towards living your best life. If you enjoyed what you heard today or were helped in some way, please send me a message. Send me an email, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing how this content is helping individuals in their daily lives. For more information, content, videos, and information on my book, and links to all my social media, please visit natebattle.com. Remember, today is the youngest you'll ever be, so go out and make the most of it. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Live your best life on purpose now.